Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Greater Together conversation with leadership. I'm Cassie Miles, president of the board of directors of Great Theater. And on behalf of the board of directors, I want to thank you for making time to join us virtually for an update on Great Theater. We hope you are all well and all healthy, and we would love for this to be a real conversation. So at any point in time, please use the chat feature on YouTube or the comment section on Facebook to send us a question. We'll try to answer as many as we can during our time here together. First, I'd like to welcome our great staff who will be providing the updates today. Let me introduce our Executive Director, Dennis Whipple, our Education Director, Kendra Norton Dando, who will be providing educational program updates, our Managing Director, Lacey Shermers, who will be managing the chat to ensure we answer all of your questions, and our Technical Director, Colin Jarrell, who is producing today's virtual conversation. And Dennis is going to start us off tonight with a conversation on our safety update.
Thank you, Cassie. Good evening, everyone. So in our 23 years of producing theater with and for the community, safety of our volunteers, audiences, and staff has always been very important. And then we had the shutdown and forced to end all of our programming on March 13th, and here we are 4 months into this unpredictable time, during which I want to assure you that every decision Great is making is about the safety of our volunteers, our audiences, our staff, and our artists. And we have worked to keep everyone updated with events like this conversation and involved in our decision process through many online surveys. So this crisis has had a chilling effect on Great Theater. The Minnesota Council of Nonprofits just reported a study that shows the sudden spread of COVID-19 has profoundly affected the nonprofit sector. And they report that the arts are the most disrupted of all nonprofits in Minnesota. Great, and all of our local arts groups like the Paramount and Fine Arts Programming are also greatly affected, and we will all need your support. So, the most common question that we get right now is, will you be performing Mamma Mia in September at the Paramount? And while we miss you and can't wait to perform for you, we have to share with you tonight that we are going to postpone our 2021 Broadway series at the Paramount Center for the Arts until mass gatherings are deemed safe for our community and it's financially feasible for Great. We will perform all these wonderful shows, including Mamma Mia, Little Shop of Horrors, Cinderella, and we will share new dates when they are determined. This means we likely won't be performing on a large stage until 2021. However, we will be ready to lead the return to live theater as soon as it is safe, including some smaller programming in our Helgeson Learning Lab Theater this fall. We will be back on the Paramount stage and will need your help to rebuild greater than ever. So why have we made this decision? So, safety and financial viability. On a recent survey, over 70% of our audiences say they won't return until 2021 at the earliest. And we listen to our audiences. So while Governor Walz turned up the dial and allowed entertainment venues in Minnesota to have 25% capacity, filling only 200 seats isn't economically viable for Great at the Paramount. In addition, we are still working on the best ways to protect the health and safety of Great volunteers, ushers, artists, and backstage crews. The reality is, Great will be smaller for the next couple of years. It took 22 years to build Great into what it was prior to COVID. This means we've had to also make difficult decisions around eliminating some staff positions, and we will miss these staff members tremendously. We will need to continue to furlough some of our positions, and the rest of us, including myself, will be working fewer hours. Our ability to keep our staff will be dependent upon our fundraising success. Philanthropy has been, always, and always will be critical to ensuring we survive and thrive. So we are grateful to each and every person who donated their tickets or registration back to GREAT, donors who made additional gifts, our funders like MSAB, CMAB, CMCF, Optimist Clubs, Humanities Centers, and the Morgan Family Foundation. They have all committed their support during this challenging time. We really are stronger together. So next, we'll welcome Kendra for an education update because we have been very busy with a lot of education in the community. Kendra?
Thank you. Though it looks different, theater education has not stopped just because we cannot meet in person. And it's been exciting to adapt to the current needs of our community. Back when this all began last spring, we continued working with our neighborhood school Discovery, adapting the social emotional learning curriculum for a virtual environment. We continued to meet the first and second graders online, as well as record and upload lessons for Discovery's use. We also created the Live from the Lab Friday night broadcast that ran in April and in May. And there we saw lots of volunteer participation through the virtual cabarets and Shakespeare play readings, and we got to hear from professional designers too. So thank you all for participating in those fun Friday nights. Most recently, we have continued our programming with United Way, offering virtual drama workshops at Kid Stop and Boys and Girls locations. And by the end of July, we'll have taught 3 sessions of drama workshop, working with kids 1st through 5th grade, and developing characters and creating stories using everyday items around the house as the springboard. We're also in the middle of a virtual session of We Speak at South Junior High, which is a project that centers student voices and uses theater as a tool to focus on the significance of telling our own stories and developing our understanding of the world around us. A few weeks ago, our 2020 camp families were invited to stop by GREAT and pick up a summer 2020 GREAT t-shirt. Though we couldn't have camp, we could still continue that tradition. And it was really fun to see so many folks at the drive-by t-shirt pickup. And a special thanks goes out to our camp instructors who helped with that distribution. And this morning, we launched our 2020 virtual summer activities, which over 150 families signed up to participate in. We're excited to get that going with the first activity focusing on costumes. Every other day for the next 2 weeks, students can check into our Google Classroom and engage in a theater project from the comfort of their own homes on a time frame that works with everyone's schedule. We're looking at costume design, monologue work, scene work, playwriting, and choreography, and we're thrilled to engage kids from kindergarten through high school. We have also continued our own education as GREAT staff these last few months. We are committed to anti-racism as an organization, and as a leadership team have been reading and discussing Layla Saad's Me and White Supremacy. We are continuing to learn and unlearn so that we can examine how our policies and procedures uphold structures of racism so that we can better our organization. We are in this work for the long haul, and we recognize that the internal work is necessary for actual structural change. So this wraps up the summary of GREAT education, both internally what we're focusing on, as well as how we are externally adapting to better serve our community during this interesting time. So now I'm going to turn it over to Lacey.
Thanks, Kendra. And thank you to all of those who have provided questions through email ahead of time. Most of them are about our shows and programming. So Dennis, you already touched on the fall at the Paramount Center for the Arts, but can you fill us in on the rest of the 2021 season?
Oh, I would love to. So it is exciting tonight that with an abundance of caution, we are announcing virtual auditions for the Laramie Project. And you can go to our website and check out the information to audition virtually for the Laramie Project. We hope to perform this play September 25th through October 3rd in the Helgeson Learning Lab Theater. And we have designed a rehearsal schedule that does some rehearsal virtually and some rehearsal in person with masks, with time in between rehearsals and a lot of thought around keeping everybody safe. There's also a long list of safety guidelines for our volunteer performers that's on our website, and we're open to any and all feedback on that. And we are going to do a virtual Broadway musical review live from the Paramount Center for the Arts on September 13th at 2 p.m. So mark your calendars, September 13th at 2 p.m. This will be a fundraiser for both GREAT and the Paramount, and we'll just be asking for donations of any size that day. Also, information for this is on our website under auditions. And so if you're interested in performing at the Broadway Revue, please submit your song selection ideas through our website. Both of these projects we believe we can create safely and follow all CDC guidelines for temperature checks, wearing masks, very small groups, and get some of our amazing volunteers back onto stage. At GREAT, we use a lot of survey results and opinions and input, and our volunteers have said many of them are ready to get back volunteering if it can be safe. And so we listen to that and are hoping that the Laramie Project and the Musical Revue will be a way to try to get some of those volunteers back safely. And we also are very excited to announce that Laramie Project will be live streamed. So in addition to a very small in-person audience, we are going to have a 3-camera professional setup to live stream all of our performances of the Laramie Project. So you can either be in person, or if it's more safe for you to be at home, you can watch the Laramie Project live from your home. So we're very excited to try that out and see how that goes for our audiences. But Lacey, we'll continue to listen and to learn. There's a lot of information we still need as we design our next parts of the fall. We need to know if schools will be back in session and how can GREAT help depending on what those choices are. We also are expecting the results of a national study around how much the virus spreads while singing, acting, or playing instruments. And we're going to need that information before we can really understand what it'll be like for our musicals and how we do those. We also will keep surveying our audiences. As we said, over 70% of our audience says they won't be ready to return till April of 2021. Now we hope that can change and we can get out sooner than that, but we will listen to our audience and to the guidelines as we make those decisions. And probably most critically, Lacey, my part, we will be reaching out to each and every donor to ask for your support during a special campaign to help us survive and to thrive. And in addition, Kendra will have some education happening with some community partners.
Yes, we will be continuing education with multiple community partners. Whether schools are in person or online, we are ready to get back to our 2nd and 3rd grade classrooms at Discovery with a continued focus on social emotional learning. SEL is important for kids, and the current stresses we are facing societally only increase the importance of a social emotional wellness focus. So we look forward to supporting this work. And we will also continue to partner with United Way, serving as part of after-school programming for youth in St. Cloud area. We plan to offer drama workshops, and we speak after school this coming year. Additionally, we are going to be offering some virtual masterclasses for our community as we bring in experts, both local and from across the country, to focus on a variety of topics, including acting, playwriting, and script analysis, as well as some play reading groups. Our first masterclass will happen on September 2nd, so save that date, and it will have an acting intensive focus. So we hope you mark that down and continue to check the website for more info coming on our masterclasses. We also have the radio drama script writing contest that is happening in partnership with KVSC. We will be offering some workshops this fall to assist with the writing process, and scripts are due December 31st. But we are really excited to be producing a radio drama written by a local playwright, maybe you, in 2021. So please check the website. More details are out there already about this contest. And now let's go ahead and turn it back to Lacey.
Thank you both for those updates. Since all of this started, a lot of the questions we've been steadily receiving are related to how GREAT is doing financially and if and how we'll be able to weather this. And Dennis spoke a little earlier on what we're doing so far, and it's becoming more and more clear as time passes that this road to recovery will be much longer than what we thought a couple months ago. Cassie, can you elaborate on what that means for GREAT going forward and what we're doing now to ensure we survive and thrive?
Sure. We have a very strong community here, but as Dennis mentioned earlier, it took 22 years to build great theater to what it is today. And that work was done with the tremendous support of our donors and our volunteers. And while we have applied and will continue to apply for every grant and every pool of federal stimulus assistance that's available to us, we will need the support of our donors and volunteers to move forward. This pandemic has cut Great Theater's earned revenue by over 50%. Your philanthropy will be our primary source of income for the foreseeable future and will be critical as we rebuild, reinvent, and continue to share the joy of the arts with our community. We know you'll join us. Lacey?
Yeah, and speaking of community, Dennis, can you share with us what this means for the Paramount Center for the Arts and our partnership with them?
Oh, gladly. So we have actually been meeting via Zoom with the Paramount leadership, Bob and Gretchen, every week during this time. And they have just really been a terrific partner in working through the hundreds of details around canceling programming and pledging their support to help us return to performing in this beautiful historic theater when safe. To help us plan for that, Great asked audiences and volunteers, camp families, to take a survey to share their thoughts about returning to live theater. The survey asked about virtual performances and education. And I want to just say thank you. We've had over 1,100 responses and really just appreciate the community input in making these decisions. So some highlights from the survey with partners. So a majority of our audiences say they won't be ready to return to live theater until there is a vaccine and treatment for COVID-19. And a majority of our volunteers asked us to create a safe way for them to return as soon as possible to volunteering at the theater that they love. Additionally, there were several questions about GREAT and the Paramount HVAC, which at the lab is a brand new system and does adhere to all the guidelines about fresh air flow as recommended by the CDC. And we're working with the Paramount to ensure their system is also safe when we're able to perform there. And the most encouraging part was just the overwhelming number of people who gave comments of support, how much you miss the theater that you treasure, and you want to make sure GREAT is around for many future generations. And that really inspires us to work very hard. Lacey, I know you got to read all those comments also. They're really encouraging.
I did. It was very encouraging. One of the questions that we had come in was if there's a plan in place for season tickets that have been purchased for the 2021 season. And I will take that. With any tickets that you have for the 2021 season, GREAT has to postpone that show for. We will transfer that to a credit on account that will be honored for future performances. And as we've always been very flexible and accommodating, if you need to switch dates or move things around, we will certainly work with you to make sure you can get in to see that show when it's safe for us to do so. So we will be performing all the shows that announced, and the updated dates will be shared through email and social media when those dates are determined. Do you have anything to add to that, Dennis?
Yeah, listening to you say that, I almost feel like I need to ask, for people to continue to have patience with us. We're going to need our ticket purchasers to stick with us through this. There is no way we can make it through without our subscribers. And so our commitment to you is, that we're going to do those shows and they're going to be great and amazing. And we need you to stick with us through this time.
Awesome, thank you. And then what about the cast of Mamma Mia?
Yes, this was a very difficult decision also. We had asked the cast if they would keep their roles all the way through to performing in September. And now that we're not performing it in September, many of our cast members we're going to be unable to keep their parts, whether they're leaving for college or life changes happen. And with the uncertainty of when we're going to perform Mamma Mia, I made the decision to release the cast of Mamma Mia. We were able to gather some of them last week, and it was awesome to see them and have a cast goodbye. This is one of those challenging things that only happens in a pandemic, that you would have to do something like this. So when we are ready to perform Mamma Mia, we will hold open auditions. And we hope a lot of them show up, and we will need other people to show up because we have parts to fill. And we'll create a Mamma Mia cast that represents the community at the time that we are able to do it.
Great, thank you. So another question came in about our 2021 breakfast. We hold a breakfast every year in February or March when we announce our next season. What do we intend to do there?
Wow, hungry question. Thank you for that. Certainly our last breakfast in 2020 was a record raising amount. I think it was over 60,000 that was raised that morning. We kicked off a 2021 season that had sold a record number of subscriptions. And then barely a month later, everything halted. I don't know about you, Cassie, but I think we would hope in some way to be able to hold a breakfast or a similar type event, but we'll have to wait until probably early 2021 to know if that's safe and how we can do it.
Yeah, similar to all of the shows that we're figuring out right now, there's a lot of variables still, that we just don't know. So once we've determined that it's safe, we would absolutely love to be able to host our breakfast and get everybody together to share some updates at that time. And if we have to try and figure out a different safe way to do it, then I think that we're a creative team and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a question that came in. Katrina Kraus is asking if there will be any more e-cabarets.
Ooh, we don't have any more e-cabarets planned, do we, Kendra?
Not at this moment, aside from it's not an e-cabaret, but our big event at the Paramount. At this time, we don't have any scheduled, but if there's great interest in the community, we are certainly interested in what you all want our role to be during this time. So we can certainly put that back out there for consideration.
Yeah, and I know, Kendra, we've talked a lot of what, to take advantage of the time and to really maybe focus some of our master classes on auditioning,
Right.
on, telling story through song, acting, really just trying to give our local performers an opportunity to work on the craft of creating, because that can happen virtually.
Yes. And we're wanting to provide some of those opportunities for adults specifically, because we know a lot of our cast members are adults. So education doesn't just mean youth programming. So our intention with some of our master classes is to specifically offer some skill building workshops for adult community members.
Yes, and I have a little sneak peek of some of what you have planned that I know we can't announce tonight, but we do want people to be checking the website, and rest assured, we are going to email and put it all over social media every time we have an opportunity for learning. So we'll be in touch.
Well, that was perfect because you just answered the next question, which was about adult education programs. Oh.
Yay, good job.
Yeah. So before I hand it back over to Cassie to close us out, I just want to give a quick recap of the highlights that we shared in case you missed any of it as you joined in. So we have made the heartbreaking decision to postpone our 2021 Broadway series. We will perform all these shows, and updates will be shared through email and social media when it's determined it's safe for our community and financially feasible for Great. Any tickets you have for 2021 season or Great shows that have to be postponed will be transferred to a credit on account and will be honored for future performances. And as Kendra shared, we have lots going on in the world of education in partnership with local nonprofits, schools, and community artists. And although 70% of our audience members say they won't return until 2021 at the earliest, our recent surveys do show volunteer and audience support for producing a small cast production of the Laramie Project. Those auditions will be virtual, and all that information is posted on our website, so check that out. Well, we're also planning the Broadway musical review that will be streamed live from the Paramount Center for the Arts. This will be a fun opportunity for our volunteer performers, and we'll be asking those watching to consider making a donation that will be split with both Great and the Paramount. And we'll soon be announcing a fundraising campaign as this pandemic has cut Great's earned revenue by more than 50%. and we're relying on the support of donors in our community more than ever before. And with that, I'll turn it over to Cassie for some final words this evening.
Thanks, Lacey. Thanks for that recap. We really appreciate you all attending our virtual conversation, and we cannot wait to perform for you in person. Our staff is going to look through to make sure that we answer all of the questions, but if there is anything that was missed, we will reach out directly to answer them. And you can also send us questions that come up after this event here. Email us, message us, and we'll get back to you. Please stay up to date by visiting our website, and we'll reach out as we have new information to share. Before we end the conversation, I want to take another moment to just share some gratitude. I want to thank all of the donors, everybody who participated in the Flash fundraiser, everybody who's donated their ticket purchases or their camp registration, all of the people who have renewed their contributions, all of our Director Circle donors, our board of directors, and all of our great staff and production artists. We really, really appreciate everything that you've done for us. Thank you, be well, and take care.